What is going on, everybody? It is Alex from Everything for iPod, and today I have an unboxing and full review of the Philips Hue lighting setup. So as you can see, there are a lot of boxes, and this one in the middle, the starter kit, is the one box that is mandatory. You need the starter kit in order to use any of the other Hue products, and that will run you $200 whether you go with the smaller A19 bulbs or the bigger BR30 bulbs, which I have here. Both kits, no matter which bulbs you get, are $200, and I'll go into the differences between the two different kinds of bulbs a little bit later. The starter kit comes with 3 light bulbs, but the room I'm using them in has 6 light bulb sockets in the ceiling. I wanted to fill the room, so I purchased 3 additional BR30 light bulbs, which will run you $60 a piece. I also picked up the 2 additional Friends of Hue products, the LED light strips for $90 and the Bloom, which is kind of like an ambiance light, for $80. All of these lighting products are controlled by a smartphone or tablet, both on Android as well as iOS, and these lights can create 16 million different colors throughout the whole color spectrum, so you can really customize the look of your room. Right now, I am opening up the starter kit, and this is the reason right here why if you want to use any of the light bulbs or use the Bloom or the LED light strips, why you need to buy the starter kit. Right there, that is the hub that controls all of the lights, and there's no way to obtain that without buying the starter kit, so it is required that you buy the starter kit to use any of the other light features. Directly under that is a short manual. The setup process was really easy, so most people aren't going to need that. Up in the top left-hand corner, you have the power adapter for the hub itself, so that connects into that circular hub I just took out of the box, and then directly into the wall. Up in the top right-hand corner, you have an Ethernet cable, which is required. It's very nice that they include that because the hub itself doesn't have wireless. You do need to run a wired connection from the hub into your Wi-Fi router. And then here is one of the 3 BR30 light bulbs that came with the starter kit. Again, I got the BR30 starter kit, but you can get the GU10 or A19 bulbs for the same price of $200. I put the hub directly under my iMac on my desk because that's where my internet router is, and you do need a wired connection going from the hub into your internet router. However, you do not need the hub to be in the same room as your lights. If you're installing your lights into one room and your internet router is across the house on a different floor in another room, that is not a problem. As long as you get internet reception from that router in the room where you're going to be installing your lights, there is no problem. The hub can be in a completely different room and still be able to control your lights. Now that I have the starter kit unboxed and set up, I can move on to the Bloom, which, like I said earlier, is kind of like an ambience light. And what I can really see it being used for is to shine up against a wall or onto a piece of furniture to add a lot of color to a room. The Bloom is really good at producing very vibrant colors. However, it's not so good at producing your everyday kind of yellowish tint colors like a normal room would have. So if you're looking for a ton of color, the Bloom is a really good product. Again, in case you missed it before, the Bloom runs for $80, and I'll have links to everything below down in the description, but right when you open up the box, you get your starter's manual, as well as all your documentation, such as warranty information and everything like that, how to contact support, and then besides that, really all you get in the box is the Bloom itself. So pulling it out of the box, the Bloom is sitting right on top. As far as the actual construction and design goes, it is purely white. It looks really good, blends into a room really well when it's not on. There you can see the lighting fixture in the front is kind of clear when it's off. The back of it is actually made out of metal, so it's pretty heavy and it's going to stay stationary. However, there are no rubber feet on the bottom of it, so it does have the tendency to slide around a little bit if you place it onto a table. In the back, you do have your power cable, which is connected to the unit. There is no way to disconnect the power cable, and yes, it does have to be plugged into the wall at all times for it to operate. You can't charge it and then have it run wirelessly. I think the power cable for the Bloom could be a little bit longer. If you don't have an outlet where you want to place the Bloom, that may interfere with where you want to put it. So be aware of that. Make sure the power cable is going to reach where you're going to want to put the Bloom. Just like with the Bloom, you get all of your documentation and you also get the light strips themselves. However, unlike the Bloom, the light strips have an extremely long power cable. They do have to be plugged in all the time for them to operate, but the power cable's extremely long, so it's going to be very easy to find a place to mount these two. And as far as mounting goes, there is 3M adhesive on the back of the light strips, so you can stick them anywhere you want. For some reason, in the middle of the power cable for the light strips, there is this weird plastic piece in the middle. It does have 3M adhesive on the back, so you can stick it and hide it out of the way, but it's just a little odd for it to be there since there are no controls on it. It's just kind of a little brick in the middle of the unit. And then, of course, you do have your 2-prong power cable on the other end. As far as the actual bulb goes, it feels very solid and doesn't feel like it's going to break. It's made out of plastic on the bottom, some metal around the sides, and then the top piece, which actually projects the light, is made out of plastic, not glass, so you won't have to worry about breaking it. I mentioned before that I picked up the BR30 light bulbs, which have a downward pattern and are the biggest light bulb, which are great for putting in the ceiling. So the installation was very simple. I just had to unscrew my old light bulbs and put the new ones in. The A19 bulbs are smaller than the BR30 bulbs, but they project the light outwards and all around rather than just down. So they're going to be better for use in lamps. There are also GU10 bulbs, which are good for lighting fixtures such as track lights because they have a different socket. So if you're looking for them, you might want to look online because I have yet to see them anywhere in stores. The setup process probably couldn't get any easier. It's extremely easy to set all of the lights up and connect to the hub, and I really had no problems and didn't even have to touch the manual. So what you do is you download the Hue app from the App Store and you open it up. Again, both on Android or iOS, this is supported. You'll get this little slide to start screen where it shows you some of the settings. I'm just going to skip through that by tapping skip right there. Then you can select start creating, and now automatically it comes up with the setup screens telling you to push the link button on the bridge. So I'm just going to push in the link button right there, and it recognized the hub, and now I am into the main menu. So this is where all the scenes are controlled, and right away I'm in here and I can control different colors for the lights. And I don't know if you can see the lights completely changing, but I'll show you an in-depth look at that. If I tap this icon in the top left and go into settings and then into my lights, I can see all 8 of the lights I have connected, including the light strips as well as the bloom. If I want to add more lights, I would just tap where it says searching up there to search for new lights. And within this menu, I can also rename any of my lights. As I tap one, it'll start blinking in the room, so I know exactly which light I am renaming, and then I can rename it. So I named all of my lights to correspond with the position in the room, and then of course I named light strips, and bloom, bloom, just to make it easy. Okay, so now I'm going to demo the actual app for you. And basically right here, I have the app open on my iPhone, and I turned off all of my softbox lights. There are 3 of them in this room, 1 here and then 2 back in the corners, which you can't see. But I went ahead and turned all of them off so you can get a full effect of what the lights in here actually look like. Now, I do have 6 light bulbs installed in the ceiling. I have 1, 2, and then 2 more right here, and then 2 back in the back up here. So a total of 3 going down this side of the room, 3 going on that side of the room. The bloom is shining directly under my MacBook Pro on my desk. That's the blue color you see right there. And then the purple color you see right there is actually the LED light strips mounted to the back of my iMac. So that's what that looks like back there. And now we're going to move in and see exactly what these lights can do with the app. Sorry if this is a little bit hard to see. I'll try as best as I can to show you all the features in the app without it getting too washed out. But basically right now I am in the scenes page, and there are some preset scenes that I can select that will change the color of the lights. So I can select all off right there, and it will shut all of the lights off. I can also turn to some of the presets such as relax or concentrate. The only problem is that I found with some of the presets are that, by the way, if you tap a preset, you can see the brightness control for each individual preset right there. But only 3 of the lights are being controlled right now when I tap the preset, and that's because each preset is only selected for a certain number of lights. There is a solution to this. You can go in, edit the configuration, and enable the other lights for each individual preset. But that gets a little bit annoying. You do have to do that for each preset. You can also download people's presets offline. So for example, I downloaded this blue rain right here, which turns the room a crazy blue color. It is very responsive, as you can see as I jump between presets. The lights change pretty fast. So that blue one controls all of the lights. That is because the person that made that has just as many lights as I do. This jump preset right here is only controlling 3 of the lights, 1, 2, and the one up here. You can see this half of the room back in the back, and you can tell by my skin color, stayed blue. And that is a huge problem in my eyes. it's really annoying to go into each individual preset and have to add your light bulbs for each preset and then select what color you want each of those light bulbs to be. A little bit annoying, it is manageable, but it's just a little problem I've seen. I would have liked if maybe the software automatically recognized that you had additional lights and kind of changed the color of those lights to match the other ones, but at the moment you have to do it manually, which can get annoying. You can also choose to make your own preset by tapping this plus button up here, and then you can choose 3 options, or really 4, camera, library, or Philips, or a light recipe. So I'm going to choose camera right now, and the camera will come up, and I'm just going to snap a picture, and then you can scale it to where you want and do really whatever you want with it. So I'm going to move it to about right there and select use. And basically all of my light controls come up here. So each one of these little blips is a different light. So if I tap it, I can see front, middle, and I can drag that to be any color on this image. So I can make it this beige. I can also drag it up here to these preset colors, ranging from yellow to a really cool blue. I'm going to set it to kind of a teal color right now. And it's really cool because I can just select what I want each one to do. So this is controlling the bloom back there right now. And I can really just move it around and make whichever color I want. You can also group lights together by dragging them on top of each other, and then drag that group at once to change the color of it. If I tap the menu button in the top left, I can go into light control, and that will bring up the full spectrum of colors, so I can really control exactly what color I want each light to be. And this is where you're going to get really creative with things. I can make it a bright pink, red, really any color I want. Now what I've noticed when doing this is colors like red, blue, and pink tend to stand out the most, whereas colors such as green and yellow tend to look a lot alike, and then teal kind of looks like a regular light bulb color, as you would see up here in the standard light range. So I can group a bunch of lights together right here and really control exactly what the room looks like. The one problem I found with groups is that you can only put 6 lights in a group at once. So you do have to make multiple groups if you have more lights than that. But it is pretty cool and very responsive. Now one thing I do want to say is you do not need to be connected to Wi-Fi to do this. If I hit the menu, you can see this log into my Hue little screen right here. And what you can do with that is actually log in, make an account, and pair it with your bridge, and then without being on Wi-Fi, you can be across the country, and you can control the lights without being in your house. Really cool feature, and with my Hue, you can also download and share other people's light recipes, and then that way you don't have to make your own, and you can go off of other people's creativity. Over in Light Overview, we can just see all of the lights and control the brightness for each individual light while it remains at the same color. And you also have the option, again, to turn all of the lights off. The thing I really like about scenes is that you can just select a standard light color. So this looks exactly like just a regular house right now. You wouldn't even be able to tell that there are light bulbs installed. One thing you might not be able to hear is that some of the lights, I think only 2 of them, buzz at full brightness, which I think is really weird. Not all of them do it. Maybe I have some defective light bulbs, but if 2 out of the 6 I bought are buzzing, you want to think that some more of them out on the market are going to buzz. So if you're looking to buy some light bulbs, expect some of them to buzz. You might be able to return them and keep trying until you get ones that don't buzz, but from what I've found, a couple of them are going to buzz. The Hue app made by Philips on the iPhone is very stable. I haven't had any problems with it. However, on the Android side of things, I found the app to crash way more than I would like to. It really is kind of hard to use on the Android operating system. At least that's what I've found. However, on the iPhone, it's a really smooth interface and I've had no problems. There's also some other apps you can download. I downloaded one called Hue Disco. I'm not going to go too far into depth in that. If you want to see some videos, I'm sure there's plenty of them online with people demoing Hue Disco. But basically, you can cycle through colors, you can do strobe lights, you can make it flash to the music. Really cool things. That is a paid app. However, there are third-party Hue apps that are free if you want to look into them. Also, if you are into IFTTT, which stands for If This, Then That,
this does support IFTTT, so you can control your lights to do certain things. Basically, it's an automation program, so you can set it up on your iPhone or the computer, and let's say my favorite sports team is the Philadelphia Flyers. By the way, if you don't know, their main color is orange. I can set it up for every time the Flyers score a goal to have these lights flash orange. Very cool feature. I also have it set up so when some of my favorite YouTubers upload a video, it will flash red because YouTube, their main color is red. So really cool things you can do with IFTTT. I'll link them down in the description, and I'll link some of the Hue light recipes so you can see exactly what that can do in greater detail.
Overall, Hue is a very great product. I really love it. However, it is pretty expensive, but if you can justify spending that much on lights, by all means, it is a great product to go with. There are a ton of third-party apps, and I really love the if this, then that support. That's really cool, and there's a ton you can do with it. The LED light strips and the bloom are very awesome products. However, I don't like that you need the starter kit to use them. These lights look even cooler in person than they do on camera, so if you're looking for a way to completely change the look of your room and you geek out over tech stuff like this, Hue is definitely worth looking into. Again, I will link all of the products I mentioned down below in the description so you can check out pricing for them. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future content. Thanks, and I will catch you in my next video.